Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's Melissa with Nolting. I want to welcome everyone here today as we announce a lot of our things that we're doing, our classes for our 50-year celebration. This is an exciting year for us. We've been around for 50 years, which is an amazing 50 years that Nolting has been around. So today we want to talk about our classes that we're going to have the week of November 12th. That week will also be special. We'll have specials going on. We'll have demonstrations going on. And we will have some more exciting things that will be happening that week. So stay tuned to our website, our Facebook, and watch our emails for more information on that week. Today, we want to concentrate on the classes that we're going to have. So I have our most of our presenters and our educators on the Zoom today. And what I'm going to do today is I will have them each introduce themselves a little bit. Once we get done with the introductions, then we'll go right into the class schedules, and each person will just tell you a little bit about that class. So it gives you a better idea if that class is going to fit with education that you're looking to get. Some classes are free, some classes are paid. They're all on our website right now. So as we go through the discussion this morning here, Melody will be putting up the link for the class. And as usual, if you have any questions on the classes, just reach out to us. Give us a call at 319-378-0999. And we would be more than happy to help you answer any questions. So with that, I am going to have each person introduce themselves. Nathan, I will let you introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll go to Joyce, and then we'll go to Millie.
Thanks. Appreciate that, Melissa. I'm excited to be part of this. It's fun to be with everybody today as we're talking about part of this wonderful 50th anniversary and the celebration that you've got going on. Congratulations, Melissa, to part of the history that Nolting has. I think it's fantastic. To be, associated with a brand like yours, with you and your team, and all of the amazing customers that are so dedicated to the product. So thank you. So I'm Nathan Erznosnik, have a background actually in part of the quilting industry. I am not a quilter, but I will tell you that I have finished many quilts, but I tend to prefer automation. And I say that because it makes me look way better than I actually am. So Nathan Erznosnik, I've been around the quilting industry for about 17 years. A little over 17 years, actually. So going on 18, a little over 18 years now. Worked with the Grace Company in the past for quite some time. I work with a couple other businesses in this industry. And again, I'm really, really glad to be able to be associated with you, Melissa. So you can remember my last name by ears, nose, neck. Erznosnik. So that's the easy way to remember that. If you don't want it, you can just call me Nathan. So we'll pass the introduction on to somebody else. So thanks.
I've been with Nolting since 2009 when I became a dealer after I purchased my first Nolting long arm. And I love long arm quilting. I love being innovative and doing all kinds of interesting things with it. And I love the automation. When Nolting came out with automation in 2014, I jumped on board immediately and started learning automation. And since that time, I've been teaching automation at Nolting and around the country. Teaching is one of my passions, as I was a teacher for many years before that, teaching high schoolers. So some of the things that I'll be teaching are just at the frame kinds of things. And then I'll, of course, be doing some classes that are just for quilt imagine.
Joyce, can you say a few words about Kim as well, since she's going to be traveling with you and she cannot join us on this morning's call?
Yeah, so Kim, good friend of mine locally here, came out and taught in July when we were there for open house. Right now, Kim is on her way to Houston, driving to Houston for the Houston show. So that's why she's not with us. She is an awesome quilter as well, a hand-guided quilter. Her techniques are well known, and she's been rewarded with ribbons, multiple ribbons, numerous times for her excellent work. And she's coming along. Again, this time we'll be doing some teaching for the hand-guided quilters, as well as some of the free classes that Kim and I like to do together.
My name is Millie Curley. I've been a quilter since 1989. kind of new to the Nolting family. 2 years ago, when after retiring from teaching, moving back to my hometown in Manchester so I could help take care of my 90-year-old parents and my 65-year-old brother with Down syndrome, I sold my car and bought a Nolting long arm quilting machine, and I absolutely love it. I am still a teacher at heart, so I teach quilt classes, do lectures and things, and teach workshops. And I'm writing a book. I'm a teacher, writer, speaker, whatever the moment calls for. And I love to quilt, to garden, and to read. And I think all those things work together really nicely.
So with that, I want to go ahead and get going into the classes, what everyone is really wanting to hear today. My class is Quilt Your Way to Success, turning a passion into profit. That class is going to be about the insights of taking your quilting into a business. If you're just starting to think about it, or you're in the process of creating a business, this is the perfect class for you. It's going to be a hands-on discussion about how you can, anywhere from your marketing analytics to writing a business plan, to looking at your financials, to creating a website, social media, lots of things around that business insight. I'm going to share the business insights that I have. I have about 25 years worth of business experience, all the way up to being a CFO at a company and now running Nolting. So I love to share my experience and my guidance or recommendation or things to think about as you go through the journey in creating your business as a quilting business.
I'll just come and add a little bit to Melissa's piece before I introduce the class that I'll be doing, and it's more of a lecture base. But if you've ever thought about, and Melissa, I just want to talk about the experience that you have and really what you're looking to do with what I like to call kind of this business opportunity. Again, this is before we go into mine. I'll just say, raise your hand if you've ever been at home and you are thinking that, is there a way for me to make a little bit of side income? Are you looking at moving into this full-time as a business? Is this something you're looking to expand to, maybe replace or replenish some of your monthly income? Or, make this just really a full-time gig? The class that Melissa has is fantastic. And she goes through and asks a series of pretty darn amazing questions that really kind of, they get you to step back for a minute and to think about where you're at, what you really are looking to do, where you're at now. And do you want to tiptoe into this, or are you ready to jump all the way in? So I just want to do a shout out for her in that class that she's doing. She's done this as she's kind of traveled around to a few different cities and presented what we would refer to as kind of the Nolting effect with the Nolting tour. So it's been fun. So Melissa, I just wanted to throw that shout out for the class that she has. Very, very, very insightful. So make sure to take advantage of it. Mine is a little bit more lecture based. And what is mine? I told you in part of my introduction that I like automation quite a bit. I would say I'm kind of a nerd on that. I'm pretty involved with what is the computer automation that gets added on to your long arm systems. But one of the things that I found over the years is there tends to be kind of a variation of quilters that either are against it, that might not know about it, or are starting to use it, or all in. And so there's this variety of where you currently might be, and you might not have long arms. So let me just kind of quickly cover three key things that really I want you to think about. And if you fit into any one of these three categories, you want to come and show up for this class. It's kind of like a high-level overview of what is computer automation and what does that mean for you in quilting. So if you're person one, you're not involved, you've never quilted, you've thought about buying a quilting machine. However, and this is me, how much time do I want to spend on learning something new? And then outside of this, how much time have you spent on your quilt tops? And you're like, I want to give this away as a gift. And you're just thinking, I don't want to mess this up. And so you probably are paying somebody to take advantage of that. And I think that's a great way to do it. A lot of people love to finish their quilts from beginning clear all the way through the end. And so if you're that person and you're not sure if long arming is for you, or you're not sure if I wanted to get in, is this something that I physically want to learn the skill set? One of the big things that automation does is it literally is that confidence creator out of the gate, because with the few simple pushes of some buttons, like literally 3 simple steps, selecting a pattern, deciding where you want that pattern to go on the fabric, the system literally can take you from the top of your quilt to the very bottom. And so that's the first group of people that we're going to be lightly talking about in my class, is what does this look like and how is a system like QuiltMagine used in this way for those people that just don't really know or have never been really involved in automation. So again, a great question to come and ask yourself is this something should I be involved in? Would I ever use automation? Would I maybe decide to get into quilting if this was the solution that just solved all the problems by me not having to worry about learning a new skill or practicing to get really good before I can finish a quilt in order to do so and send that, to my grandchild or give it as the gift for the wedding. Or right now we've got a lot of holiday things going on. So you might be thinking and planning, hey, what might I do in order to send this Christmas gift to the loved one that I have? So the second person we're looking at is a person that's probably understood long arming. You've got a machine and you are using it, but you're not sure at what level automation can add another level of detail to this. And I like to call this is kind of where you end up taking what is normal edge to edge patterns, and you're going to see, and I'm going to demonstrate, how do you start to create more of these custom and these unique and these very identifiable quilts? Again, this is the high level overview of what the system has as a capability, not necessarily how to use those. And you're going to hear from Joyce, because what the goal is, and I'm pretty sure what you'll find, is you're going to come and you're going to be introduced to what automation is, and then you're going to get excited and say, well, how do I learn how to do that? And again, Joyce will talk about her classes that she has as a master of computer automation. So that's the second group, is what might I do, and really what's capable? What are the capabilities of computer automation? Am I limited because it takes away my creativity? Just so you know, the answer is no. Built-in tools allow it to be as custom for you as you want to do. Sign your name on the screen and quilt it. Put names on your quilts. Precisely place patterns in very specific areas, creating new designs and new elements of quilting within your quilting space. And so if you think about this, the first type of a person is, I'm not sure. Should I be getting into quilting? Do I want to? Do I have the skill sets? Do I have the confidence? How does automation solve that? The second one is, if I'm in the quilting world, how can automation begin to offset and add to the things that I love and help me finish not only more quilts, but do so in a way that is a lot more unique and custom to me? The third person that this is an ideal class for, and again, more of a lecture base, is the person that is, I'm all in. I am curious to know, how can automation truly make a difference in my quilting and or in my business? And so this third person, and who this class is perfect for to attend, is we're going to talk about a little bit more of the ins and outs of the integration of automation into your daily process or into your monthly process as a quilter. And so a lot of business owners, if you think about this, time is money. The question is how much time can you utilize, or are you on the machine on your own? When we end up having automation, we end up getting a partner in the room that can then help us complete a lot of these tasks while we're freed up to do a few other things. And in our addition, I just don't have to work my physical body in order to use it to complete all these things. So again, it's a great way to simplify what we like to consider part of that client. If you're going to be finishing quilts for persons, it helps simplify that journey for them as a selection of a pattern, or for you completing more quilts in days or in weeks or in months as well. So again, the class that I'm recommending is come find out more about the high level of what automation can do for you in your quilting journey, wherever you're at. And again, this is not a class that is meant to teach you what you will do when you're done. It's to give you the insights and the oversight as to why computer automation is such an amazing accessory or a tool when coupled with a quilting machine, and how much more capable it makes anybody on the quilting system be. And so that's what I'm going to share with you. Again, I've completed several quilts on my own. In fact, most of the patterns, unfortunately, or still my designs in what is QuiltMagine. And so I've helped actually develop the software itself, and I've helped put it into place with the functions and features that it has. And so again, this is a high level overview. This is not a quilt. This is not a class where you're going to walk away saying, I now know how to use the system. Again, that is not my component. Joyce is the professional, and she will teach you the ins and outs and exactly how to do so. Mine is to let you understand, should you be involved with computer automation and the power of what this can do for you in your quilting journey, regardless of where you're at. So again, sign up for this, come find out a little bit more. I believe, if I'm reaching out, that we're not charging for this, because it's kind of an overview of what we're going to do, kind of from how this can impact you. Again, remember, if I've not ever quilted and I'm not necessarily a long armor, how might this help give me confidence in order to get into long arming so you can finish more of your own projects? The second person is a person that's looking to take and create more uniqueness, slightly more custom, and use automation at another level so that you can understand the power where it does not limit your creativity. It simply is an add-on to give you, again, more confidence in a tool that even increases accuracies and proficiencies along with more. And then the third, if you're that person who's trying to decide, how does this get added to part of what you're currently already doing from the quilting perspective? Is this part of that business? Is it just a way to help you finish more quilts in less time and take less effort in order to get those done? So if you're any one of those people, and if you've ever had a question or a thought about why, really, what is computer automation? Really, how does that look and function? We're going to talk lightly about the mechanics. We're going to talk a little bit about what it is as far as the interface. And we're going to talk a lot about what this ends up helping you be able to do. So again, not necessarily going to teach you how to use all these things. I'm going to give you an amazing, clear overview that will allow you to confidently leave understanding, is automation something that you should learn more about and add into part of your quilting system, or is it something that you're going to hold off on for a little bit of time? So again, thanks for the opportunity and allowing me to share what this amazing class is going to be. And sign up now, because that class is filling up and we want to make sure there's enough places for what those are. And we'll look to see what we can do to stream it for all those who might not be able to be there as well, so that we can share the word on what Quilt Magazine has to offer for you in your quilting journey and your quilting experience. So that's what I'd like to share from my perspective on the class that I'm going to be facilitating. So thank you,
Nathan, for sharing the insights on your class. It will be a great class for, like Nathan said, for anyone to attend. And that'll be on Wednesday, November 13th from 9 to 11. Hope you can join us. Next up, we have Joyce and Kim. As I mentioned, Kim is not able to join us this morning. So Joyce is going to go over the overviews of when they have classes together, and then Joyce will go over her classes and Kim's classes. So Joyce, can you share a little bit about what you want to share when you do the class from noon to 1, creating a custom quilting design plan with Kim and Joyce?
I'd love to do that. Kim and I have been friends for a long time, and we started our quilting journey together as long armors. And so we put our heads together numerous times over the years. And because we each have different perspectives, Kim is a hand-guided quilter, and I'm an automated quilter with Quilt Magazine. I look at things a little bit differently than Kim does, but we can still come up with great ideas. So we did this class in July, and everyone had an absolutely great time with us. They brought in quilts for us to take a look at, and Kim actually put a plexiglass over the top of it and started sketching out designs on top of it and offering ways to do that with hand-guided, while I was thinking and offering ways to do it with automation. So it's just a fun class for people to come and get ideas. Now, your quilt might not necessarily be the one that we look at, but because of the varied nature of all quilts and all the different kinds of design possibilities they are, I think you'll walk away going home from this class with some new ideas in your head on how you can implement some of the things that Kim and I suggest as possibilities for quilting these different quilt tops.
In this summer, this was a really popular class. I will tell you, it is amazing to see the minds, Kim and Joyce, and how their minds just start going once you set down that quilt. And in 5 minutes, it was just amazing and what the two could bring to the customer or whoever did the quilt, and just their thought process and how quick their thoughts were able to come out and share what would be the best way to quilt on that quilt. And so it was a fun class. It's fun, it's entertaining, it gives you a lot of great ideas on, like Joyce shared, not just the quilt that's up there, but things that you could take home to quilts that you already have as well. So Millie, if you can take over and go over your first and your second class on that day.
But first of all, I just want to say how honored I am to be in this group of teachers, because I have attended classes that Joyce taught and that Kim taught, and just, blew my mind, came away with so much encouragement and confidence and ideas just to make my own quilting better. So I just love their classes. I haven't taken one from Nathan yet, but I'm sure that his will be fantastic as well, because everything I have experienced educationally at Nolting in the couple of years since I've had my machine has been absolutely phenomenal. So first, I want to talk about my class about Harriet Powers and her quilt. This class will go into a little bit of history about a specific quilter and quilt, and then we'll talk about how this person's work can inspire us and what we can take away from it. And then we'll talk about the importance also of the documentation of quilts and how we, our quilts will probably live longer than we will. And so by documenting them, we learn a lot, or we offer people in the future to learn a lot about us and our lives. So the specific quilt we're talking about with Harriet Powers is her Bible quilt. And Harriet was a woman born into slavery in 1837. She developed phenomenal sewing skills and made quilts. She always said she was the mother of 11 children. 9 of them were her boys and girls who grew up and left home, and the other 2 were the story quilts that she made and left behind. She invested so much of herself in those that she really considered them her children. And I think a lot of quilters feel that way too about what they create, because it is such an essential part of you when you put your creativity into something and then you share it with the world. So we're going to learn about Harriet and one of her story quilts, her Bible story quilt, shows how she imagined and felt her faith and how she stitched that story into her quilts, and then how that quilt survived over time, because really we know very little about the lives of enslaved people, and then enslaved people right after they were freed, and how they navigated life in freedom, even though many of the conditions for them didn't change. But we'll see a lot about her life. And then what we'll see in her is how she was somebody who really privileged creativity and innovation over the technical profession. She wanted to share a story. And so she was finding new ways and new techniques and ways to express what she wanted to say. We'll see how her life and her work really transcended the trauma of slavery to speak to all of us today, even though that trauma is infused in the work. And we're going to see her as a woman in her time who used tools and fabric and things that were available to her at the time, how she took that and really created a piece of herself that lived into the future. We'll also talk about a little bit of a scandal. 100 years after her quilt was made, it had been acquired by a collector and eventually put in the Smithsonian Institute as a really great example of American artwork. The Smithsonian decided to copy 4 outstanding American quilts. They contracted with a Chinese firm to mass produce these quilts and then sold them in catalogs and things. And the quilting community just really had outrage that an American design was outsourced to Chinese makers for profit, and what this said about the value of the work. So the quilters protested and got that changed. And that's a fascinating part of the story we'll talk about as well. I just find so much inspiration in Harriet's story. And I happen to have, you can see behind me, one of the duplicate quilts that was produced in China. And we'll use that in class and talk about Harriet and her long-lasting work and the documentation of her quilt that makes it possible for us to learn her story today. And I think that's important for all of us, because all of you, as you put your life and your hands and your creativity into your work, the story lives on and is so important. My other class will look at quilts in children's literature. A lot of children's storybooks, since children's storybooks, picture books first started being published in the US in the early 1900s, a lot of them have used quilts either as a theme or a motif or a character even, or maybe just as something to supplement the illustration. And so I tend to I love research. I love getting into learning all about specific things. And I started studying quilts as they're represented in children's literature. And I have a collection of over 125 books, I think is what the count is right now. They're all over there. You can't see them because I try to keep the clutter off screen. But I have, published from the early 1900s up to the present. And it's just really fun to look at how quilts move the stories along and how they are integral to the stories. So I will bring a selection. I promise not all 125. The last time I did this class, it was a more than 2-hour seminar in New York. And we had a lot of time to look at a lot of books. We won't be doing that here for the Nolting class. I'll bring a few just to show how quilts function in literature. And I know that a lot of quilters are also moms, maybe dads, grandmas, grandpas. And if you want to share the love of your passion with your grandchildren or any of the children in your life, and you might be interested in seeing how quilts are in children's book and get some ideas of books you might want to share with the young ones in your lives.
Next up, we will have Joyce and Kim. It'll be at 3:15 to 3:45 on that Wednesday. Unique techniques, applique and reverse applique with your long arm.
Applique is something that I have kind of shied away from over the years because it takes time, and either you have to stitch it by hand or with a machine, and sometimes the results are not as nice as you'd like to see. So one day I was thinking about this and I'm going, well, why can't I do applique at the long arm? So I thought about it and decided, yes, there's got to be a way to do this. Now, it's probably not for everybody and not for every kind of applique on a quilt, but for larger appliques, it is a good technique. And I'll just show you one of the quilts that I will have there. This is a new one that I've just finished. Just the top. All right, we'll get it right side up. So you can see on here, it's kind of fuzzy, but it's like a deck of cards, and those appliques are done at the long arm. And I'll be bringing another example as well that has butterflies on it, that I actually took the pattern in Quilt Magin, and this is done using automation. This technique is done using automation. So Kim is also going to be part of this class, and she's going to demonstrate applique with hand guided. So you'll get both perspectives in this class. One is how you can use your automation to accomplish your applique. We're going to talk about reverse applique as well, using both automation and also doing hand guided. So whether you're a hand guided quilter or you have automation and you're thinking about doing some applique, or getting some new ideas on how you can be a little bit more inventive with what you're doing with your long arm, join us for this class. And I think it's something that you'll really enjoy.
Thanks, Joyce. Next class will be from 4 to 4:30 on Wednesday. Creative couching, fun designs you can make with a long arm. This is with Joyce and Kim as well. So Joyce, if you can give us a little bit of information about that class, that would be great.
So couching, if you're not familiar with couching is a technique where you sew down yarn or ribbon on top of a surface. And in this case, it would be a quilted surface, a quilt. So it's a technique that can be done. Nolting has a couching foot available to feed whatever you're couching down through the hole. And Kim and I are going to be demonstrating the techniques that you use for how you do couching. And I've seen some very awesome quilts. There's one that a friend of ours did that's kind of like a seabird that he couched the wings on and the body on. And it's an absolutely amazing example of couching. But there's many, many ways that you can use couching to embellish your quilt tops and really give them a customized look that's like way beyond anything that you can even dream of doing just with regular quilting. So again, this is a creative technique, and if it's something that you're thinking about trying, come on out to this class and learn the techniques that you would need to practice to do this. I think it'll be a fun class for us all.
Joyce. And then the last class of the day will be a maintenance class. It's going to be with Scott, Joyce, and Kim. And really, it's going to be things to think about. Have you ever put your needle in backwards? Have you threaded your machine the wrong way? We're going to be going over some of those things and ideas and tips and tricks on how to make sure that you got your needle in right or your bobbin case in right. We'll also go over the Essential Care Guide kit that we have created, and we'll go over your your daily and your monthly checklist to make sure that your machine is up and running correctly and you're doing the maintenance that's required so that your machine can keep running for a long, long time. So it's going to be information that we'll be providing to you, but we'll also have a lot of Q&A to be able to allow you, the people that are attending the class, questions that you can ask the group, like I said, Joyce and Kim and Scott, questions that you might have that you've encountered that we would be able to help you better maintain your machine or be able to fix something on your machine. So that's an overview of the classes for that Wednesday. And once again, I just want to reiterate, most of these classes, actually all of these classes, you don't actually have to even have a machine. You don't have to have a Nolting. Anyone can join us. If you're thinking about possibly getting a machine, or you're thinking about getting into a business, or even if you don't have a Nolting machine, all these classes can apply to you on providing you more education to help you with your quilting experience and journey. With that being said, let's go to Thursday, November 14th, where you will have Joyce talk about, she will have a class from 9 to 12, Master in Automation, Hands-on Techniques for Efficient Quilting. So Joyce, if you want to go over that class, and then right after that class, if you want to do your afternoon class too, from 1 to 4, customized with automation.
I've already heard, I love using automation. I love it for many, many different reasons. And some of those are the reasons that Nate is going to be talking about in his day when he talks about automation. This class on Thursday morning is going to be a little bit different from some of my other automation classes because it's open to anybody that has QuiltMagine already and just getting started, and they need to know, how do I place blocks, how do I design and place and sew pantographs. So we're going to cover all of that. But it's also, I really invite people that are thinking about automation and may have gone to Nate's class a couple of days earlier and are thinking more seriously about it. This would be the perfect next step, would be to come to this class and actually sit in on it and see how easy automation really is. And I'm not kidding. When I get people in my classes and I say, this is not hard, I get some rolling of the eyes. And by the end of the day, they're going like, okay, yeah, I can do this. It's not that bad. Okay. So that's what I want people to walk away from this class. So if you already have QuiltMagine and you're getting started, we will be covering how to do blocks, how to do pantographs. So bring your tablet. It will be hands-on using your tablet, but we're also going to be using the frame. So there's going to be a long arm frame in there. Actually, not a long arm frame, but a shorter length frame, but it will have a machine and QuiltMagine on it. And we'll be demonstrating how easy it is to place blocks and sew them, how easy it is to design a pantograph and get it on your quilt and actually stitch it. All of these things, I think, will help you. If you haven't made that decision for automation, you'll be able to see that, yes, this is something that you can do. It's not a tedious task. It is actually a lot of fun. And once you see how much fun it is and how easy it can be accomplished, you're going to go like, okay, this is great. So that's the one in the morning, mastering automation. The afternoon class, which I've titled Customization, Easy as 1, 2, 3 Sew. And it's interesting that Nate used kind of the same 1, 2, 3 things in his example. Is when we think about customizing, we're going to talk a little bit about what customizing actually means. But you can customize blocks and you can customize pantographs, and you're thinking, oh, pantograph is a pantograph, it's going to look the same. No, there are so many features in QuiltMagine to make that pattern look totally different from what it first starts out to look like. And it's not hard to do. And it's basically one step, a second step, a third step, and you press the sew button and it's going to sew out for you. So there's so many things that you can do. QuiltMagine is just packed with features that allow customizing of blocks, allow customizing of pantographs in a very easy way. And it gives you the opportunity to express your creativity. It doesn't have to be just the block or just the pantograph. It's all the extra things that you can do with just the tap of a button. And what you see on the screen is what you're going to get. So it's not a mystery, you're not stitching out something that you're going like, gee, I hope it looks like. No, you see on the screen what it looks like, and you can decide if you like it or not. And if you decide to stitch it out, you go like, wow, this is awesome. And it is not hard to do. So we're going to talk about customizing your quilts with automation and making it truly an expression of you and your own creativity. And again, we'll be using the frame, the QuiltMagine on the frame, and stitching out some of these things so that you can see, one step, second step, third step, sew.
Thanks, Joyce, for sharing that. And also, I just want to mention, Joyce has done a lot of classes here before, and Kim this summer as well. And even if you've taken some of the classes, QuiltMagine or ruler classes, every time that you attend a class, you're always going to learn something. It takes about 7 to 8 times to hear something through education and conversation before really you fully grasp that idea or that concept. So, even if you took our classes in July, go ahead and take our class again, because you're going to hear and learn and hear something that maybe you didn't hear the last time, or maybe you have additional questions on that you'll be able to ask Joyce as you go through the day with classes with Joyce. So Joyce, can you share a little bit about what Kim will be sharing in her ruler class with everyone here?
Absolutely. A couple of weeks ago, I hosted Kim here in my studio. She had 6 students. I had 3 long arm frames set up with 2 students at each frame with a space to quilt, practicing with the rulers, and everybody had an absolutely phenomenal time. Kim is a high energy teacher. She uses lots of examples. She has a great PowerPoint presentation that goes along with this so that she can show you lots of examples of ruler work and all of the awesome things that you can do with the rulers. She bounces back and forth between some training where she explains how to use the rulers and some of the techniques and draws them out for you so that you can see exactly what you're going to, where you're trying to go with what she's talking about. And then you go to the frame and you actually practice with the ruler so that you can learn the technique and how to use that ruler and with some actual design things. So she gives you like little, work, this is exactly what I want you to do. Draw this out in the space with the ruler. So it's not just, free flow for you. She gives you a little exercise so that you can actually practice the technique with that particular ruler. So she works you through a number of the rulers that you have purchased for the class so that you learn how to use each one of those rulers, starting with a straight line ruler and working through the different curved rulers that you get with a set. So when the class was done here a couple of weeks ago, it was amazing at the end of the day, and it was time for people to leave. They'd been here all day. Everybody just kind of sat down and just chatted. They were in no hurry to leave. So everyone had a great time. They really enjoyed having Kim for a teacher. And I had several emails from the students afterwards, and Kim got some emails from them on how much they enjoyed having the class and how much they enjoyed learning how to use rulers. One of the gals she said, I really stink at rulers. She said, I have no idea what I'm doing. And she came and she went home with the confidence to actually use the rulers that she had, along with rulers that she had at home. So it's a confidence builder, and it's learning the skills, and it's learning some ideas and how you can use those rulers to create designs.
Joyce. And along with that class, I'm not sure if I have it out there on the website or not, but lunch will be included in that class since it's a full day class. Okay, on to the last day, Friday. Friday, we have 3 different classes. The first class is with Joyce. It is from 9 to 12. Once again, that class will be over at the Legion Hall, and it's Pattern CAD.
Well, Pattern CAD is a feature that is found in the pro tier of QuiltMagine. It is an extremely powerful part of the program, and at first it's kind of intimidating. It intimidated me for a long time. When I looked at it, I'm going like, I have no idea what to do with this. Finally, I started playing with it and realized the potential that is available in Pattern CAD. So what it is, it's a place where you can go, you can edit patterns. So you can take in an existing pattern, you can edit it to become something that you want to see rather than exactly what the pattern is. You can draw your own, you can design. And to put these things together, you can take 2 patterns and compile them and kind of marry them together so that they stitch as one. There's just many, many things that you can do in Pattern CAD. So the Friday morning class is an introduction to some of the features and some of the things that you can do with Pattern CAD. There's no way, even in a full day class, that we could even cover all of the things that you can do in Pattern CAD. But we're going to start with the easy things, and we're going to do some exercises during the mornings where you actually practice on your tablet using some of the functions that are found in Pattern CAD, like drawing is one of the ones that we'll be using. We're going to be doing an exercise where you're going to split a pattern. If you only need to use half of the pattern, how do you do that? So some things that are very useful. These are going to be features that you're going to use, but for useful things. I had an opportunity just recently on a quilt that I was working on, and I'm looking at the pattern going like, no, this is not going to work in the space that I want it. So I said, what can I do? So I took it into Pattern CAD and I worked with it and made it into what I actually needed it to be. So once you learn how to use Pattern CAD, there's lots of things you can do with it. So if you already have Pro Tier, Pattern CAD is on your screen. You may have looked at it and go like, I have no idea. Well, this is a class to find out how to use Pattern CAD. If you don't have the Pro Tier, that's not a problem. If you want to learn some of the things about it, you come to the class anyway, bring your tablets, and we just put that tablet into demo mode, and you're able to use the features in there to see what it's like. So this class will explore the possibilities of Pattern CAD using a few exercises so that you go away and with a better understanding of just what you can do with the features that are in Pattern CAD. The afternoon session, which I've called Awesome Quilting for 56 cents a day, and you're going like, yeah, right, okay. So yes, this is a class on the gold features. And all the time I hear, I only quilt for myself. I'm not a professional, so I really don't need gold. And my take on that is, and what I say is, even though you're only quilting for yourself, you really want to do the very best that you can. I mean, we all want our quilts to be a reflection of us, and the quality that we want to see in the quilts is, all of us want to see that quality there. So whether you're a professional or you're not a professional, gold is for everyone. The features that are found in gold are very easy to use. They're user-friendly, and they can add on to all of the other features that we have in QuiltMagine. There's some features that are standalone features, and there's features that are enhancements to functions that we already have in QuiltMagine. And they just make our quilting go from, what it is to over the top. So gold features like borders and corners. This makes designing borders a snap. You can design a border and be quilting it in less than 3 minutes. And there's no other way that you can do it that quickly. Another thing, you can place and stitch multiple blocks at the same time. So rather than placing one and stitching, placing another one and stitching, you can place several and then go quilt them all at the same time. And then there's an enhancement to that which we call point to point, which is an absolutely awesome feature for doing custom quilting and making it go quickly. So my look at all of this and the features in gold is, why settle for less? It only costs you 56 cents a day. And, I look at this, those designer coffees that you can go buy, skip one a week, okay? Put the money in a cookie jar and save it and go with gold. So this is one of the samples that we'll be looking at. And this particular area right here is where we use point to point. And there's some other custom techniques that are also in this. The other quilt that I showed before with the deck of cards on it has several of the gold techniques and features that were used in that. And I'll tell you, I would not be able to live without the gold features, because I want to go beyond what is available in the program. And it only costs me $200 a year to enable those features to do that. And I think it's a real bargain to be able to do that. And I love being able to do that kind of customizing on my quilts for very little effort, because honestly, these things work so smooth. They're just easy to use.
Thanks, Joyce, for sharing that with us. And we will have Quilt Imagine gold cards available that day as well, if you would like to purchase one. Last class is 9 to 4 that day. It's with Kim, Design and Quilt, Mastering Free Motion Quilting with Kim Worth. Joyce, can you share a little bit about what Kim will be doing in that class as well?
Yes, Kim, as I mentioned previously, is an awesome hand-guided quilter. It is a craft for her. It is an art for her. And she has a real knack for looking at quilts and designing things to put in spaces. So her quilts, most of the time, are a combination of ruler work and hand-guided quilting, filling in the spaces with different kinds of designs. So in this class, what she's planning on doing is giving you some ideas and techniques. So it's going to be, again, back and forth between learning and getting some ideas on how to fill the spaces, and then going to the frame and actually stitching out some of those ideas. So it's a design class as well as a hands-on at the frame. Let's kind of practice this. And Kim is kind of that little person, that's on your shoulder. She'll be looking over your shoulder, and she'll be saying, yeah, that's kind of good, but why don't you try this? She has little ideas to help you along the way to practice some of the things that you're trying to learn in the class, both with the rulers and with the hand guided. So she's a very good teacher. She's very much looking at what you're doing and making helpful suggestions based on your skill level. So she takes you where you're at, regardless of where you're at, and helps you go up from that point right there.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed today, learning a little bit about what we're going to offer the week of November 12th. It's going to be a fun, exciting, educational week. We would love to have you join us, all our current Nolting customers. Once again, if you don't have a Nolting or you have a different brand, it's okay. Come join us. It's a week of education that you'll be able to get regardless of what machine, or if you don't have a machine here. And I'll give you a way to also test drive the machines. All of the classes, you will be either on a flare or an Alera or a diamond. So it'll be it'll give you a way to be able to test drive the machines to see if maybe that's the machine that you're looking for. So we hope to see you there that week. So come help celebrate it with us. Always bring a notebook to all your classes. That'll help you keep track of your notes. Kim's classes, always make sure you bring some kind of sketching utensil with you, because you're going to be doing some drawing with Kim. She likes to do that in the training room. And then a notebook in general to take notes for all your classes. And then if you do have Joyce's classes, if you do have a Quilt Imagine, you can follow along by bringing your tablet. If you don't have a Quilt Imagine, it's okay. You still will be able to follow along with her classes. So we hope to see you there. The other thing, watch our emails and our Facebook posts, all our social media posts, and our websites, because besides the classes, we're actually going to have a couple other really exciting things that we're going to bring to you for that week. So we want to have you join in on those exciting options. So once again, hopefully that you can join us for one class, all the classes, to be able to get some additional education for your quilting journey, to make your quilting journey a lot easier and a lot more fun for you. Thanks, and have a great day, everyone.